Hi, everybody. Welcome to Christian Homestead. My name is Jared. We got some news right now. The church invites all to watch a special announcement. I just barely found out about this. Okay, new First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to be named. All are invited to a live worldwide announcement on Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 at 1 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So here, Central Time for me, it's going to be 2 p.m. Make sure to watch this, you guys. Do not miss this. I wish that I had been in tune with these things back when President Nelson was ordained and set apart and everything. I missed that initial conference that he had. It was him in the new first presidency, and it was done from the temple, right? I totally missed that. There's so many things that I missed before I started this channel, and I'm so disappointed. So do not miss this. I will do a follow-up afterwards. It says, join us to hear messages from special witnesses of Jesus Christ and learn about the reorganization of a new First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This live announcement will be made from Temple Square in Salt Lake City and will be available to the public as it unfolds. Jesus Christ leads his church through a prophet who serves as the president of the church, and 2 apostles are called to be the prophet's counselors forming the first presidency. The message will be broadcast live on churchofjesuschrist.org, church YouTube, and social media channels. Okay, and then it talks about the languages in which it will be available. And look at the image that's selected for this. It's this Second Coming painting. They have, I guess it's probably the original, but in the conference center, they have a gigantic version of this. You can see that on my channel called Explore Church Sites. I did a video where I was able to video inside the conference center, but this is a Second Coming image. We've talked about this before. You can see the angels coming down out of the sky with Christ, and then you have those that are alive on the earth that are coming to him. So I don't know, this is really exciting. It's so interesting how it's played out. You know, I was kind of like in the fog of war because before conference, I was in Utah. And so it was hard for me to keep on top of everything. And I was expecting that there was going to be a new first presidency by the time of conference and that we would have a solemn assembly and all that. But that didn't happen. Conference came and went. And I realized, oh, they're waiting until after the funeral of President Russell M. Nelson. And I don't know, it's been in the back of my mind, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, it's suddenly here. Here we go. And I don't know, this is exciting. So please make sure to watch it. Feel free to put your thoughts in the comments below, who you think is going to be the new first presidency. I have felt since the beginning that it's probably going to include Jeffrey R. Holland. I could be wrong. Maybe he'll remain, you know, well, at this point, let's see. He would be, excuse me, the actual president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, because after President Oaks, he's next in line when it comes to seniority. And so he may continue in that position, but instead of being acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, he would be the president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. So that's a possibility, but I tend to think that he might be in the first presidency. And I think that just because his life was preserved, it seems. We've talked a lot about his near-death experience and what Elder Renlund said about him, how from his experience, Jeffrey R. Holland should have died, or it was very, very likely that he was going to die. Like, it was all but certain. But then he didn't. And let me see if I can pull something up here. Sorry, I'm just like doing this on the fly. Let's go to quotes A through Z. Let's go down to Jeffrey R. Holland. He said something interesting about his near-death experience and coming back to life. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, Jeffrey R. Holland's hospitalization and aftermath. Let's zoom in. And I think It's not that. Sorry. I just want to get this to you as soon as possible. Yeah, this is it right here. This is from Newsroom, November 11th, 2024. President Holland urges Dominican Republic saints to be believing. He says, one of President Holland's messages for youth was that his health challenges of 2023, he was often unconscious for a full month and nearly passed away, are proof of miracles. Quote, I want the young people to know there are still miracles in this church, he said. The miracle that I represent in the restoration of my life is as real as any miracle in the Old Testament or the New Testament or the Doctrine and Covenants or the Book of Mormon. Miracles still exist. So that's why I feel like there's a good chance he may be in the first presidency. For all we know, he may become president of the church one day. I mean, President Oaks is old as well. He's 93. But it seems like something is going on with President Holland. And there's much more I could say about that, but that's not really the point of this video. And then I also think about Elder David A. Bednar because I feel like someday he will be president of the church because he's relatively young. That was one of the really obvious things about him when he was first called is all the rest of the 15 brethren, aside from himself, were pretty old, and he was relatively young. And when he first spoke in General Conference, he said something like, I can't help but to feel like one of these things is not like the others, in reference to his age. His name is David. I've done videos about that before. We haven't had a whole lot of apostles in the church named David. And there's an interesting thing about that. Maybe I can pull that up really quick. But where do I have it? I think it's under timeline. Or maybe it's under prophets. I'm sorry, guys. Prophets. Or maybe it's under... Oh, gosh, dang it. I wish I had it. Oh, there it is. Timeline. I just saw it. Timeline Davids. Okay. So these are all the apostles named David that we've had in the church. We started out with two. We had David W. Patton and David Whitmer. Actually, now I'm starting to double guess. Was David Whitmer ever an apostle officially? He was one of the three witnesses. Well, whatever. We had David W. Patton. He died in the Battle of Crooked River, which I recently learned about because now I live in Missouri. And I learned after I made that first video about the Battle of Crooked River that he's considered the first apostolic martyr in this dispensation, David W. Patton. So then we go all these years without a David in the Quorum of the 12. And then in the 70th year, the 70th year, you have at that time Elder David O. McKay, who later became President David O. McKay, president of the church. It was under David O. McKay that all these things happened here in Missouri. The construction of the Independence Visitor Center, or at least the beginning of that, the purchase of Adamonde Amen, and other things. And then he passed away in 1970. Okay. And then 7 years later, in 1977, we get the next David, Elder David B. Haight. And then the way that things turned out, when he passed away, it was Elder Bednar that filled that spot. You know that Elders Uchtdorf and Elders Uchtdorf and Bednar were called at the same time. It was Elder Bednar that filled the spot of David B. Haight. So one David replaced another David. And then in 2008, we had Elder D. Todd Christofferson, which is another David. So that's why I look at Elder Bednar. Again, let's just wait and see what actually happens. But these are just some interesting things to think about. Either way, it's exciting that the church is going to have a first presidency again. I don't know about you, but it felt a little uncomfortable. It always does whenever there's this apostolic interregnum. It just feels like something is missing, and something is missing when we don't have a first presidency. And it'll be interesting to see the church go back into normal operation under a first presidency. And we should uphold that first presidency and support President Oak's what did Elder Rasband call it? Elder Oak's prophetic priorities. That's something that he said when President Nelson was still alive, but that we need to uphold the prophet's prophetic priorities. Hopefully, this second coming image here is a sign of things to come. You know, I think there's maybe been some concern among this community that, you know, is the second coming stuff, the second coming talk going to start to slow down, or is it going to continue? Well, I guess we'll see. I think the Lord does call different leaders at different times. It's like how you switch tools. As you're building a house, you don't just use screwdrivers. Sometimes you have to use a saw. Sometimes you have to use a hammer. And so different leaderships look different because different styles are used at different times. It's all about timing. But like this said, the Lord is in control of his church. He's the one who says Jesus Christ leads his church through a prophet. Jesus Christ does. And so if the second coming has been a big focus during President Nelson's presidency, it'll probably continue, with President Oaks and whoever comes after that, if anybody comes after that before the second coming. So yeah, let's just make sure to watch this. Do not miss it. And then I'll do a follow-up video. I may do a live stream. I may not. I'm not sure about that right now, but I'll definitely either do a live stream or a follow-up video. Do not miss this. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.